You probably already know that being witty over text is an extremely powerful tool to project your personality and get her attracted to you. And in this video, I'm gonna show you three tools that you can use to be more witty in your text conversations. The best part is all of these come from real examples that I'm gonna show you, actually examples from Tinder Wingman. In case you don't know what that is, it's our program where every week we send you a full, uncut Tinder text or OkCupid conversation where we break down every single line so you get a core value, core lesson from each video, as well as understand exactly why she said what she said and why we said what we said. Plus, on top of all that, our members are able to text into us one-on-one via their phone, helping them with their own Tinder text or OkCupid conversation or anything else. Well, unfortunately, Tinder Wingman is not open. It is closed for the majority of the year. We only open a few days a year. But this breakdown that we did in Tinder Wingman was so good that I wanted to distill it into this video for you guys. And by the way, if you click the link in the description, you can join our wait list so you'll be the first to know when Tinder Wingman opens again. So tip number one is finding analogies. Now, in my profile, I mentioned that I love dark humor. That's something that I really enjoy. And this girl messaged me first saying, so how skilled are you in dark humor? So if I want to be witty with how I answer that, I need to both answer her question, right? But also have an example of dark humor. Well, how do you put that together? If you're just starting to lock down your ability to be witty over text, which is a hard thing to do, how do you approach this? Well, the first thing is to be literal. If you were to answer the question, you might answer it with a number scale. You might say, well, a 9, I don't know, 9 out of 10. You have a number scale, right? Well, now what we do to be witty is we'll think about numbers that are examples of something negative, right? So let's think of together right now some numbers that are negative or have negative connotations. Well, we have 13, that's an unlucky number, right? We have the year 1945 or 1940, I should say, for obvious reasons. We have 666. So there's numbers out there that are negative, and that's the beginning of trying to formulate our witty line. So here's what I did. Good question. I'd say I'm around a 9 out of 11. Sorry for the late reply. I've been self-consciously writing and erasing replies to your message over the past 2 weeks. I've never had someone contemplate me that hard. I think you should just skip all that nonsense and propose. So you can see that it worked really well. And again, 9 out of 11. It's a scale, but it's also really dark. It's dark humor, right? So being witty there is just finding an analogy, right? What else out there that has to do with a scale of numbers or a rating of how skilled something is? What is that plus being something that is an example of dark humor? And you can see the thought process. It's very logical how you're able to go from point A to point B. Now, tip number 2 is compare and contrast. So I was actually very slow to respond to her message, and she called me out on it. I apologize, I just get overzealous considering I've probably grown gray hair now with all the time in between you responding. Tuesday seems like a good day of the week to get married for sure. Now I want to give her a witty response. Well, the way that I do that is first, let me look at her message and think about it literally. She's saying that she's been waiting forever, she's growing old, it's like an aging process, right? So I have that in my brain, something to do with getting old. And the other thing that I want to do, the message that I want to convey, which is a sarcastic message, is sometimes waiting is good. We've heard that expression about your heart grows fonder from waiting. So that's kind of what I want to go for. So I want to take the idea of age or growing old with the idea of sometimes it's good to wait, right? So right now, let's compare and contrast. Let's think about things that get better with age. So we got steak, we have cheese, we might have whiskey, we have tea, we have wine, we might have vintage cars. So we have a list of things that get better with age. Now that we've got this list of things that get better with age, let's take it a step further. Let's find something that gets better with age, but also is related to us getting together on a date. For example, going to a bar and getting drunk together. That's a fun thing that I want to happen and she wants to happen and would be a great date. So now let's take these two ideas, getting drunk and things getting better with age. We have our list of things that get better with age and we have the idea of getting drunk. Well, what gets better with age when it's exposed to alcohol? Do you see how this is all logical? Well, let's figure it out. I like my women like I like steak aged and marinated in red wine. We've got half done. Now for the red wine. So again, very, very logical. Steak is great. Steak gets better as it ages. Steak gets better when it's aged while it's marinated in red wine. Now I just compare and contrast it to her. She already says that she's aged. Now all she needs, like steak, is to be marinated in red wine, is to be drunk, right? So that's it. Very, very simple. A to B. And not only does it show my humor, but also projects my intention, which is, hey, let's go out on a date and have a drink. In fact, I'm inviting her out on a date without even inviting her out on a date. So tip number 3 is to be super literal. This is probably my favorite thing to do out of all the tips that I've given in this video. It's really easy. Again, you just be super literal about everything. Now with this girl in particular, she has a great sense of humor, so I want to make sure that my responses are on point with hers too. Not only is being super literal funny, but it also shows her something important, that you're not taking this so seriously, which is a really, really helpful thing. Hey, it's blank. I hope I left enough time in between this text and your last message not to seem desperate. So from here, how do we take what she's saying, which is, it's funny, but how do we take that and make it literal and push it to the extreme? We over-exaggerate the hell out of it by making it so literal that it hurts. All I need to do is make a list, just like we've done before in our head, make a list of things that guys do over text that's super awkward or weird or desperate. So here are some. Saying please respond, double texting, sending a dick pic, sending a message that's super, super, super like sexual out of the blue, or saying stuff like who dis. So all of that is like really awkward stuff that guys do sometimes. So now that we have our list and we want to make something super literal, what we're going to do is push it even further. It's okay, I'll just send a few. Double text, or even triple. I like how you think, balance is key. I'll play hard to get and you play hard to forget. It'll be traumatically beautiful. I'll do you one better. I'll play hard to want. Again, super, super simple stuff. Not only do I start out with the being literal about triple text while sending triple texts, she knows that I'm joking, it works, it hits, but then with her response, I do it again. I send another witty line based on her message. Now the problem with being witty over text is that tone is really, 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 really hard to get across in your text or OkCupid or Tinder conversations. A lot of times you won't understand it, it might be too subtle. So what I found is, at least with your texting, unless she knows you or you've met in person or you've talked so long that she has a good sense of you, or she has a really sharp sense of humor, if you're too subtle, she's not gonna get it. So what works best is to exaggerate everything, is to be a little over the top with your wit, so that way she understands that it's a joke, because otherwise she might not and it will get awkward. So like I said before, all the examples of this came from a real conversation, a Tinder conversation, and a text conversation from our Tinder Wingman product. Now, unfortunately, like I said before, Tinder Wingman is only open a few days a year. We keep it closed because the one-on-one help is so personalized that if we let too many members in, we can't keep up with it. So if you want to be one of the first guys who knows when Tinder Wingman is open next, go down to that wait list and go ahead and put your name and email in, and we'll send you a notification when it opens up sometime in the next year. Also, on top of that, we'll be sending some extra goodies, exclusive breakdowns, and a lot more to anyone on that wait list throughout the year, so you're not going to want to miss that. Go ahead and put your name and email in and subscribe now. Also, if you guys need to get in touch, if you have any questions or you want us to cover any kind of topic, or you want us to look at your text messages and break them down in a future video, and yes, we'll censor everything, so don't worry. Well, you know how to get in touch. Go ahead and leave a comment below. You can always email us at support@zerbiapp.com, or you can find us on Facebook. We have the links in the description below. We'll see you soon. Thanks again, guys.